Are you new to Sorcery and wondering what kind of avatar you should play? Then this video is definitely for you. Because in this video we're going over the 11 available avatars in Sorcery and giving you all the tips and tricks on how to play them. So let's get into it.
You and your opponent enter the realm as avatars. These avatars will help you deck build. They will decide if you're going aggro, mid-range, or going for that long game and then the final blow. So you should know this webpage, which is curiosa.io.
Let us know down in the comment section what decks you like to play and what avatar you find most enticing after having watched this video. Right now we have 11 avatars in the game of Sorcery. They have their different strengths and weaknesses. We're not going to go through all the decks you can play, but we're giving you the overview and the strategies to each of the different avatars. Of course, we're also going to see 4 new avatars when the better pre-con decks arrive. And one of these have already been spoiled, but we're not going into those 4 in this video because that is going to be an upgrade video further down the road. So remember to subscribe and stay ready for the upgrade when that one comes. And now I promise you, we are going into the 11 avatars and we're starting with the most played one.
The Sorcerer. It is the avatar that is most commonly played. It makes out about 25% of the meta. The Sorcerer is a really cool card that you can go in a lot of different directions because the advantage of card draw is good in a lot of different strategies. Because you're constantly drawing up some cards, you have a lot more answers to your opponent's different strategies. So the Sorcerer has a really cool card draw advantage, and this can be used mostly for combo decks or a deck like the Wolves archetype where you just want to be drawing up as many wolves as you can get and send them towards your opponent on the Contested Realm.
Next up is the avatar Water. With this avatar you're slowly building the ocean on the grid and flooding nearby sites to expand your body of water on the grid and thereby having the best possible way to trap your opponent's creatures or lure them to their death. This avatar combines really well with the Guile Sirens that can lure creatures or big underwater creatures like the Kraken that can stay submerged and just come to the surface and hit your opponent where it hurts. It also combines really well with the Annuin Undyne, since this creature is getting bigger and bigger the more water sites is within her body of water, and your avatar is built for flooding the grid. The avatar Water is not the most played avatar, and it makes up 5.3% of the meta right now.
The avatar of Fire is the least played avatar at all, with 3.9% of the meta. This avatar goes into several different archetypes. You can play sort of more fatigue kind of deck where you're just pretty much trying to get your opponent to run out of steam while you're slowly chipping away and dealing a little bit of damage each turn. It can also be played with a flavor sort of like a spell slinger deck because her ability is that any side in your hand may be used as a fireball for that little bit extra damage. So there's different strategies, and right now it's not played a lot, but maybe we just need you to come up with a great one that will win the Contested Realm.
The avatar of Air offers you some great movement shenanigans. Once per turn, if you occupy an air site, you can move a unit on top that site to another nearby site, and thus you can move a unit around on the battlefield for free. The avatar of Air is not a very played meta avatar at the moment, making up only 4.9% of the current meta. Playing the avatar of Air, you have access to some really meta-relevant air cards, like Whirling Blades, Blink, Teleport and Grapple Shot. So even though the avatar might not be the best of the bunch out there, you're having access to some really spicy cards if you're playing Air. But of course you can get this also by combining elements.
The avatar of Earth is one of the strongest of the pre-con avatars. Those are the avatar of Earth, Fire, Air, and Water. This one is really strong. The ability on the card to be able to get +1 for each site of Earth nearby is really, really powerful. It means that you can sort of just build into a stronger and stronger avatar, and this is one of the avatars that really needs to be actively and directly fighting against the other minions and avatars, much like the Battle Mage also has to do. This one goes for the longer game because you're constantly gaining more and more power as you go, so it's more of a sort of aggressive snowballing deck play that you want to build around if you're interested in playing the avatar of Earth. Thank you for clicking on this video. If you're getting any value out of this video on avatars from Sorcery Contested Realm, we would love if you would hit that like button and become a subscriber to the channel. Thank you for watching, and we're moving on to the Battle Mage.
The Battle Mage is all about tempo and aggro. because this is an avatar that wants to go straight and directly into the face of your opponent's creatures and their avatars. This is definitely the avatar for you if you want to play small, low curve creatures and attack early on and be all the aggro you can be. You're also going to have great access to artifacts that are going to enhance your Battle Mage even further. Battle Mage gets a card draw every time they attack and kill an enemy minion, and this is a great way to get cards. But of course, this tactic can be shut down by your opponent if they A, either not playing creatures, or B, if you're unable to kill the creatures that they have on the battlefield. The Battle Mage goes really well with artifacts that is enhancing the aggro feel of the avatar, and you can use Poison Dagger, Flaming Sword to enhance these abilities even further. There are a lot of great synergies out there with artifacts, and that seems to be the route that most people are going if they're playing the Battle Mage.
The Death Speaker makes up 10.5% of the current meta for the avatars. It's a really cool avatar, and you get to play around with the graveyard, which is a fairly limited thing so far in Sorcery Contested Realm. You can, on your turn, actually reanimate minions from both your own and your opponent's graveyard, and that makes for a lot of shenanigans with reanimation that is really cool against your opponents. The Death Speaker as an avatar tries to take advantage of different Genesis abilities on cards. Because of the ability to reanimate them and get them back on the board, you want to have as many Genesis abilities that add to your advantage as entirely possible. This would be stuff like the Land Surveyor or the Princess. They really add a lot more effect when you can use the abilities twice. This avatar really builds well into a sort of combo and synergy effect type of decks, with using your hand to sort of really push them into a really big swing with Nimbus Djinn, or making sure that you curate the graveyards of you and your opponent perfectly. This card is really fun, it's fairly aggressive also, and you can really use that reanimation ability to perfection.
Next up is the Elementalist. The Elementalist makes up 9.6% of the meta currently. It's a great avatar for playing those true dual or triple or even 4-color decks, because it's a passive ability that gives you access to even more thresholds. You get one of each element as an extra threshold if you play the Elementalist. The Elementalist gives you access to a lot of great spells that might have too high thresholds for other avatars to play. The Elementalist is not the most popular of the avatars in the meta, but this might change when future sets are released into Sorcery Contested Realm.
The Enchantress is a really interesting avatar, and she makes up about 4% right now. The avatar really is a cool thing because you can build on a whole deck strategy where you try to use the different auras to make creatures out of them. But currently in the alpha set, it doesn't seem like we have enough support in form of auras to really make her a viable option for the top tier decks. So the strategy for the Enchantress is trying to ramp out a lot of different smaller creatures so that you can get some of your really big aura spells and turn them into creatures so they can match your opponents. So either you're going to try and build for a sort of more control-like deck using bigger auras like Wildfire or Atlantean Fate, or maybe you're going to try to ramp with something like Abundance and loads of smaller creatures that then activate the ability on Enchantress and make sure that you can use your big auras to smash out your opponents on the Contested Realm.
The Pathfinder is the only unique avatar in the whole of Sorcery at the moment. And it's a really juicy and spicy avatar, because you get the ability to play your top side every turn for free, and that is going to give you card advantage and ram at the same time, and your avatar is even moving around the field of battle every time you play a new site. With this avatar you don't have to worry about drawing sites, so you can just focus on drawing cards every turn, and that is going to build card advantage in the early and mid game. Because you're also playing sites every turn, you're going to have a lot of resources at hand, and these resources can be used to play really high casting cost powerful cards that other decks can simply not build around. Pathfinder aficionados have been telling us that the Pathfinder avatar might have a slightly higher learning curve, because you need to be aware how you're going to be teleported around the grid, and also you need to focus very highly on all the sites in your deck, since you're only allowed to have one of each site. So even though the Pathfinder avatar might come with a slightly higher learning curve, you're going to be rewarded in the long run with a really fun and powerful avatar to play with.
The Seer is a really cool avatar. Due to the ability, you can see that you're constantly able to look into the future and decide what card you need and what card you want to put on the bottom. In terms of card advantage, the Seer is in general more powerful in the early to mid-range games, where the Sorcerer at the final end in the late game has a lot more power because of the constant card draw. So if you want to compare the Seer against the Sorcerer, you can say that the Seer is better at filtering cards and maybe getting you a specific card, where the Sorcerer is more about the general card draw. The Seer doing to the filtering of the cards is really great for a sort of combo-like strategies, constantly trying to find the right card for the right situation on the battlefield. If you use the ribbers that you have available to you, you can scry a lot of cards down to the bottom of your deck. And then if you play with a deep sea mermaid, you then get that card up again. So using some of these cards, you can actually scry both your Atlas and your spellbook deck. That is really cool and really allows for some cool combinations because you can get just the card that you're looking for.
Now you know what the 11 avatars in Sorcery are all about. And while you're looking through your piles for the right avatar to use in your future decks, you should also look for the curio cards that you might be lucky enough to stumble upon. And if you want to know more about curio cards, you can watch this video up here.
Do not forget to check out the description down below. We're leaving a ton of links for more in-depth deck techs, interviews, and all things about the different playstyles of these avatars. And if you want to talk more about the game of Sorcery and all things cardboard, please do remember to join our Discord server, which is also linked down below.
A big thank you to the Sorcery community. Without their help, we would not have been able to make this video for you out there.
And we also want to thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to hit that like button or decide to become a subscriber so you don't miss any of our future Sorcery Contested Realm videos.